Right.
So I just want strict, whether it's consensus, 100% consensus, but it has to be something bigger than 50 plus 1. It has to be something way bigger than 50 plus 1 before we let somebody start telling us. If I'm a super minority, then okay, I understand that everybody else agrees to
You
do
can
this
use
differently.
simple minority, super minority forms, etc., etc. There's ways to balance it out.
There's other ways to balance it out. And then I always throw at people, we talk about safe voting, because right now I don't trust the voting system at all. Zero.
Blackboxvoting.org.
I was in Palm Beach. I live in my home is Palm Beach. I was a hanging Chad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
My roommate just moved there. Him and his daughter.
So think of going and getting money out of the ATM. This is my favorite one. Okay, you have to have a card and a PIN. They have a camera right there too, looking at you when you do this transaction. And then when you're done, it gives you a receipt. Okay, if you did your votes the same way, except let's say they're a double receipt, a carbon receipt, two copies. So when your receipt comes out of the machine, you take one copy and you put it in the little slot over here, and you take one copy with you. So now you have the electronic trail.
I don't like.
They need to.
I don't like the idea of a hardware
verify.
key. The hardware key, the card, that's a problem because it's stealable and it's copyable.
But if your PIN is not directly connected to your card and is verified through a separate database, it would make that safe.
Why do you need a card then?
It's just another step of being safe.
You don't need a card, as far as I'm concerned. The card is just the ATM cards, for instance, just a really easy way to pay for something at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
The truth is, you don't need it to get your money. When I pay for something online, I don't need a
If
card.
you knew your code, you didn't
Exactly.
need it. Yeah, I mean, if you could recite, it's like my library card. I don't necessarily need it because I remember my library.
Right. And I think that's a much better way to do it.
You know, but it's a two-step. It's just a two-step verification process.
Then if somebody steals your username and password, that's on you.
But the point being is that we all trust our most precious transactions to this process already. Our money. You know, we all already, almost everybody, you know, uses this every day without ever second thought or second guessing or worrying. And if it's wrong, we think the bank will fix it.
If they take 6 months, but they'll fix it. They haven't before.
Yeah, no, and I've had most stuff fixed that I've actually had real problems with before I even stopped using the banks. Except when they're stealing my money. That's where you don't get any help. So, it's just a multi-step process, whether that be with the card, or you could come up with some other, but at least it's a two-step process. You have this physical thing, your voting card. Here's my voting card. Here's my PIN. You're taking my picture. Here's all my votes. I get my receipt. And then there's this other paper receipt that you drop in the bin over here. That if anything goes wrong, they have that paper trail.
You know, it seems to me that the general way we do voting, there really is no way of ensuring that the right people are voting. Why can't I go in and say, hey, I'm Sam Adams, I want to vote, for instance? It's just ridiculous. Every other country, well, Afghanistan, the ones that are now becoming democratized, when they vote, they stick their thumb in a bunch of indelible ink to prove that they already voted. Why don't we do that?
I've seen back. You remember First Union Bank? By any chance? They got bought out by Bank of America. In the Southeast, they were like the largest big bank until Bank of America bought them. So they had pioneered this process where they were, which was kind of creepy, where they set up a bunch of sensor and electronic equipment and stuff, so that as soon as you walked through the door of the bank, it identified you if you were one of their customers, and immediately put your information on queue on the terminal, and they would even have your picture. Okay, so that when you stepped up there, the teller knew already you would step up there and know you by your name before you even said anything, and have your picture and everything.
Which sounds fine until your body double happens to walk in and take all your money.
There's nothing is 100% foolproof. We know that. All we can do is make it as safe as possible.
I used to work for Depot years ago. So
yeah,
I'm no stranger to.
I just don't trust the process at all. I know in Palm Beach County, and we're furious down there. And it's another reason I left. Is because they decided to come out with voting machines that had no kind of paper trail, and that numerous people came and proved that they could hack remotely from standing right next to it. You know, I mean,
Then nothing is perfect. Everything can be hacked. Period. You just have to make it so difficult that it isn't worthwhile doing it. It's pretty hard when you're talking about electing the most powerful man in the world. It can be done though.
That's why I like the carbon copy receipt. That way you physically have a receipt of your vote, and there's another hard copy receipt, regardless of what the computer says.
There's so many ways to beat that thing. That physical copy you're talking about, I can have done it.
Yeah, and the computer but the point being that depending on how you set your rules of engagement up, so to speak, if there is a problem with the electronic record, now we're going to look in the basket and see if we can match.
I can put backups to backups to backups to ensure that the vote isn't going to be lost. I'll give you an example. When you file your income taxes electronically,
it's a whole different thing.
How many people file their income taxes electronically every year? And how much of that is tampered with or lost? Almost none. The tampering does not come from when you put it into the computer and it goes to the IRS.
At the other end.
It comes from both ends.
Yeah.
The technology part can be made nearly foolproof, nothing foolproof, but nearly foolproof. A whole lot more foolproof than hanging chads and putting a checkbox on a piece of paper.
Now, quantum communications, they can really make it foolproof.
But that's a problem for me. The idea of representative democracy came about hundreds of years ago when it took weeks to go a few hundred miles.
Fine, right. And so it was
understandable. Now, we literally can have every person on the planet vote in the same second.
Instantaneous.
Why aren't we using that? It's really simple.
Because they don't want us to.
That's right. Because the so-called powers that be have found too many ways to cheat it, and they don't want that to end. It's just like when we talk about these mega wealthy entities that are making too much money. Why don't they want change? Why would you want change? Yeah. Why would you want things to change if you're banking millions of dollars?
No, of course, no. It's
all about the money. That's a big problem.
That's why I have an MBA. I've been in the financial services industry and one or the other my whole life. Up for the last several years, I worked for a contractor because I got out of the financial.
You realize that's probably lies, right?
I don't care. Yay!
Okay. I just thought it.
And now I am a radical anti-capitalist because I know what money in our monetary system does. I was somehow partially responsible for it.
That reminds me, where'd Mary go? I'm going to wander over with a minute. I want to see
it's what they will be allowed to do.
Right.
Because from here they can say whatever they want, but what's realistic, and I don't believe in giving people that hope.
Okay, so my brain is running for the conservation of soil, for water, and I'm thinking, okay, if our platform is to get people to be aware that there's a soil and water issue that are safe in the global then just the process of running the model right now is getting us out. And if for chemo-free Oregon, like for example, website, so she gets 20,000 hits to chemo-free Oregon, and that's where it's at the top. So it's also intense.
Well, it depends. From listening to her talk when she was here, she was almost self-promoting, and that is instantly a politician that I don't really want to engage with at all. If you are just promoting what you're talking about, and then anyone that has any kind of differing opinion you attack, you're not going to get me even interested in what you're doing. And if you're doing something positive, I mean, if you are running for office in a county that I live in or don't live in, and you don't even want to listen to me, I will never give you I would never even want to vote for you.
Being a politician in my country isn't about doing what you want. It's about doing what we want. That's why we elected you. Tell us what you're going to do that we want, not what you want. I know. I apologize. I actually want to interrupt for something else.
Anyway, thank you for talking to me. I wanted to know what was going on. And
I was really quiet, and I minded my own business. And I wanted to hear what everyone had to say. The minute I stated my opinion, I felt very attacked, and for my opinion, and it was just, you need to vote, you need to vote, you need to vote, and there was no respect for my personal belief of not to vote. Like challenging that maybe I wasn't